Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
And my name is Zach.
And this is where we talk all things
Star
Wars.
Maybe. We got to coordinate that next time. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, as you can tell, if you're looking at us on video, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the news today that dropped, EMBO. Who would have known? Who figured? Did anyone predict this? I don't think anybody. A long time ago, I think Colin was talking about having EMBO in live action, so I guess we should give him some kudos there. But before we get started, we definitely want to thank all of our awesome Patreon supporters out there. Darth Ace 1, Liam Callion, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Dan McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Makatal Tala, Adam Haber, Brad Mackey, Front Row King, Darth Beard, Indiana Solo, and Mariana Atia Arnold. Thank you so much for all your awesome love and support out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, check out legionsabers.com. No joke, guys. You can use the code STUFF. That's our code at checkout for 15% off. I'm actually about to possibly buy a lightsaber rack. As you can tell, I moved from one side of the house to the other in a different room, bigger office. So I need to display my lightsabers. I got a bunch of them. So hopefully I execute on that pretty soon. But yeah, the big story of the day, guys. I mean, EMBO. What the heck?
Yeah.
What? I mean, obviously he's a Clone Wars character that kind of got into popularity there. As you can see our background behind.
Oh, we lost David. He exited himself out, but I'll take over for him. But EMBO was brought in the Clone Wars. Oh, here comes David. He's back. We made him. I was covering for you.
Sorry about that. I
you're good.
Swiped on my mouse. I hate that feature on Macs. But
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Adam says start the podcast over. And Darth Beard is in the house.
What's up, guys?
Noah Richard, right off the bat. How we doing, boys? If true, EMBO is an interesting addition to the movie. Do you think this means the film will be Mando and Grogu fighting against the Bounty Hunters Guild? I was talking about that a couple podcasts ago. I want to see more bounty hunters on screen. Yeah. Classic bounty hunters would be great, but I mean, this is, I think, welcomed. Zach, what do you know about EMBO?
Man, there's a lot about EMBO. He's kind of one of those behind-the-scenes characters that the more you look into him, the cooler he gets. And I guess I think his first appearance was in Season 2 of the Clone Wars when Anakin and Obi-Wan were trapped on a planet with Ahsoka, and they helped these farmers with a bunch of bounty hunters fight off against Hondo because they were getting their crops raided every so often, and the bounty hunters that were there helping out, EMBO was part of that. And I believe the crew liked working with EMBO as a character so much in the post-animation, they wanted to hang on to him, and they changed the ending of the episode to keep him around. And he was created by Dave Filoni, the man himself, which I guess, if you think about it, probably makes sense why he's showing up in The Mandalorian and Grogu. If Dave Filoni's got a lot of creative input, it's kind of cool to see he's bringing one of the characters he created into the movie. He's kind of one of those silent but deadly people. He has a super, super cool hat that he throws like a Frisbee. He's ridden on it like a snowboard saucer mix type deal. And he can hold his own in a fight, that's for sure. He definitely shows up for various missions in the Clone Wars, which is very cool to see him take action against people like, I'm trying to remember, he went toe-to-toe with Savage Opress. The Hutts hired him to be kind of an attack dog when Maul and Savage were forming the Shadow Collective, and he got his butt whipped by Savage. If he didn't have his hat, he would have died, because there's a clip of Savage just punching in his hat and making a huge dent, and he ends up running away, which was smart because he probably would have died. But he keeps popping up all over the place, and again, the more you look into him, the cooler he gets. But yeah, he's definitely one of the classic bounty hunters in my book. I know he's not from the lineup of the Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters, but I think he's kind of earned his spot to be right up there. But what are your thoughts on EMBO, David?
I think EMBO is an interesting character. It's interesting that Dave Filoni voiced him.
Yeah,
in the Clone Wars. He seems to be one of his favorites. Favreau's directing, but Filoni's like right there next to Favreau, executive producing, probably in the ear of Favreau, and Favreau probably
Yeah,
asked him, "Who can we use as possibly Mando's foe, like the through line
for
villain?"
sure.
I don't think he's going to be the big bad. I think that would
No,
be kind of odd in a way. It would almost be like they're doing like a big Clone Wars episode or something as a
yeah,
live action movie. It feels like there's going to be a bigger threat out there.
he'd be a good boss fight leading up to who could potentially be the big bad or work for the big bad. I guess there's potential for that too.
Right, right. Darth Beard on YouTube says this feeds more to the theory we're getting of Tales of the Bounty Hunter soon. I would love that. That would be
Yeah,
great for that
very cool.
third installment for the Tales of. Um, I've only seen that one Clone Wars episode where, yeah, he does use his hat as like a like
Yeah.
almost like a Captain America style weapon where he can fling it at you. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does have a crossbow, right?
Yes, he does have a crossbow. That's kind of his primary weapon. He's got smoke bombs that he uses just to kind of get out of sticky situations, and he's just a man of few words. And when you see him, stuff's usually going down. It was really cool to watch him participate in. I don't know if you remember the arc David in the Clone Wars about the box where Count Dooku had all these bounty hunters kind of try out to it was almost like their audition for if you survive this, you're good enough to help me on a heist to capture Chancellor Palpatine. And if that was successful, that would have sent the events of Revenge of the Sith into action early. But since it failed, that was not the case. But Embo was part of that crew, which was kind of cool to see.
So Noah Richard on YouTube says he thinks of Austin Powers, thinks of the guy who killed people by throwing his shoes
uh,
at them.
that's awesome. I'm never gonna not think about that now. That is incredible.
Looks like I think this is Zach on YouTube says I liked the Clone Wars episode and Obi-Wan challenging his body to compete.
Oh yeah, Obi-Wan fakes his death and goes to compete with the other bounty hunters in the box, and they I like Anakin believes he's dead. I think the council kind of hid that from Anakin to sell that his death was legit. But yeah, that's a really cool arc for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Um, hmm. Yeah, this kind of came out of the blue. Um, I'm gonna read a little bit from Bespin Bulletin here. Um, he also has a hound, and we talked about this hound before because when
Yes.
Ahsoka dropped, we found out the name of that head to toe clothed, helmeted black figure. His name was Marak, the same as his hound here. So that's kind
Yeah.
of interesting. Which I would think that we would never get Embo or his hound in anything because it'd be the same name. But of course, it's like it's even lesser than a side character.
Yeah.
If I don't want to downgrade the character, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things where we might not even see the hound. But given it being Dave Filoni, I mean, he has like a super huge love for wolves and
Oh, for sure.
creatures. So I'm thinking we will see it. And of course, it's going to have a film budget. This is the Mandalorian Grogu movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think there's a high probability that we do see Marak.
Yeah. If Embo throws his hat, who's gonna go get it? Because it doesn't bounce back like Captain America's shield most of the time. So his
Yeah,
hound usually fetches it for him, which would be kind of cool to see that in a movie.
yeah. So going over to Best of Bulletin, they have some details here. It's titled Embo to feature as the main villain in Star Wars. Like I said, I don't think that's necessarily true. It says another day and another scoop I was working on has appeared via another individual or outlet. Christian Harloff has exclusively broke today via his YouTube show that Embo, the bounty hunter that was previously featured in the Star Wars animated series Clone Wars, is due to appear in the next live-action Star Wars theatrical release. The Mandalorian Grogu and is being voiced by Dave Filoni, who voiced Embo's animated counterpart. Harloff revealed that Rod of the Hutt plays a prominent role in this movie, something I mentioned previously,
Mm.
but that he thinks the movie is playing a similar storyline out as the Clone Wars, where Rada was kidnapped as a baby and had to be rescued. Harloff believes that Din Djarin and Grogu are hired to rescue Rada, and on the flip side, EMBO, the main villain of the story, has been hired to kill Rada the Hutt. The details that Harloff has revealed are ones that I too was told, so I can back this up in this reporting. Not that he needs it. I'll add that I believe that EMBO is hired by some Hutts, possibly the two featured in the Book of Boba Fett, which makes a lot of sense. I had heard conflicting things on who hired Din. I was told once that it was the Hutts that hired Din, and another time I was told it was the Republic. I don't know which one is correct, if either, but Zeb does apparently assist Din in the quest at some point, which could point to Din Djarin being hired by the New Republic. But that's merely speculation on my part. Also, as I mentioned in a previous article, and this something readers will be aware of, only the cover outlets or individuals that I consider to be reputable. Same thing here. That's why I read Bespin Bulletin. They're pretty reputable. I don't think they've really ever failed on stories. Making Star Wars and Jeff Snyder, for example, Christian Harloff is somebody he respects and enjoys a personality and media pundit. I'm a big fan of Christian. I've actually met him in person at several celebrations. Big Star Wars fan. I've tried to get him on the show, and I've chatted with him a little bit, but the guy is like super busy, and he constantly gets messages. And they're saying the EMBO exclusive lines up with what I had heard, something I had multiple sources on and was planning to run. So there you have it. It almost looks all but confirmed. Colin actually called me today, and he was telling me that another outlet reported this before I heard about Christian's reporting, and I saw his podcast today on it. And Colin was thinking that there might actually be some storyline issues with EMBO appearing in live action. So, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. I mean, did Colin? I mean, I'm thinking over here. It's like, well, does Colin like know something that everyone else is kind of overlooking? But we just spoke briefly on it over the phone. But it seems pretty solid. Is there anything, Zach, that you can think of that conflicts with having Embo and the live action Mando Grogu in that timeline?
No, not that I can think of. He's in some print media after we see him in the Clone Wars. Kind of post Order 66, there's a lot of unknown time for him, but right before Order 66, he's hired by Asajj Ventress to work with Boba Fett and his group of bounty hunters at that time. I believe they're called I think it was the Crate Syndicate. Maybe Syndicate's not the right word, but it was Crate's Claw. That's what the name of the group was. And they tried to go rescue Quinlan Voss, who was captured by Dooku. They go to his home on Sereno, which Ventress knew where that was, and they all get their butts whooped. And he does not die. So, I mean, it's the book. I know they've changed the outcome of that book for Ventress and the Bad Batch a little bit, but yeah, I don't think there's anything conflicting with that. I guess there's a lot of areas they can work with him in terms of timing to kind of make it fit their story, which I think makes it cool. Just to kind of add him in there, I think it could work out pretty well.
Yeah, Zach on YouTube states he is now Filoni's favorite character. I guess he's talking about Embo. I'm not quite sure it's Embo. I know like his favorite
He loves
Jedi
Plo
is
Koon.
Plo Koon.
Yeah,
He named Bo Katan after his wife. And he
it's got to
named
be
the
Chopper.
yeah. How many characters is that Dave Filoni does the voice for? You got
Mhm.
Chopper, you got Embo.
I know he does a couple random voices in Rebels. Like he voices like a random Mandalorian warrior, and I believe one other character that like just some random person who's involved with the plot of the episode briefly, but I think only a small handful.
Yeah. Noah Richer on YouTube brings up kind of a point that I like. Do you
Mm,
think that story warrants a movie, especially as a theatrical release? I'm thinking of the appeal for the general audience. That's why I don't think he's like the main villain. I think
yeah.
it's there's someone else behind everything, and maybe that ties into Filoni's next storytelling point, which will be either
Mm,
Mando season 4 or the movie he's trying to do, which is like the big team up event movie.
yeah.
Um, a couple things that Christian did say on the show. Um, he said that, and I think he was kind of just speaking in jest, but he did mention that Kathleen Kennedy did not want Luke in future stuff, which
What?
is wild.
That's crazy.
That might be the
Man.
bigger story. I don't know. But man, you know what? I woke up this morning and I just started thinking about Luke and his appearance in The Mandalorian. And I mean, it's so great, man. It is
Yeah,
so great. If you go on social media, you can see videos of people freaking out over it. And
for
it
sure.
gets you so hyped up, man. It gets me so hyped up when I see Luke and how they brought him back and how it was such a huge surprise. No one expected it. A lot of people were saying it like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, they're never going to do that. It would have
Mm,
leaked, but they did their best to hide the fact that Luke was going to be in the
hmm.
show. They even hid it from all the actors.
Yeah,
Katie Sackhoff thought it was going to be Plo Koon.
that's right.
And then I think Pedro Pascal said that, yeah, he didn't think it was going to be Luke either. There was like nobody there that was
Mm,
Luke. And then they
yeah.
filmed everything separately and had like a closed set, and they pulled that off like magically.
Hmm.
And I don't know what to say about that, but that's pretty wild. But yeah, I don't think Embo is like the guy. I think they kind of want to maybe push that in marketing, perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing a live action Embo, that's going to be interesting to see. I
Hmm.
wonder I wonder how good the transfer is going to be from animation to live action. I don't know, but
If we saw him fight Luke, that would be pretty sweet. That would be really, really cool. Holy
do you
cow.
think? I mean, do you think he'd put up a fight against Luke at all?
Well, I guess he put up a fight against Savage Opress, but that was kinda more hand-to-hand stuff. That was
Ah, okay.
like his lightsaber was knocked out of his hand, and, Savage had, like, a cybernetic arm and was, like, just ruthlessly punching through this guy's helmet. I think it'd be a different fight against Luke Skywalker, but I could see I think he could kinda hold his own with everybody. I don't think he'd win, but I think they could get creative enough to make it, a watch-worthy fight for sure. But yeah, that'd be sweet.
Zach says conflicting stuff never stopped Disney before, and he says Smoke is the main bad guy. Oh, he meant Snoke. Okay.
Hmm.
Noah asks on YouTube, what Hallway scene
Ooh,
is better for y'all, Luke and Mando or Vader in Rogue One?
ooh, that's a good one.
I don't know,
That's a
man. That's a total Sophie's choice, man. I can't pick.
yeah.
I mean, people were asking us on our Ask Us Anything, who's our, I think it was
Mm,
Noah actually, who's our favorite character. I can't really say, man. I mean,
mm,
I guess Luke in the end, but I mean, I love Obi-Wan. Or maybe it was Zach that was asking us. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah.
And got to meet Ewan McGregor, got to talk to him, which is wild.
That's so
Um,
crazy. Very cool.
did you as well, right?
Yeah, so I met Hayden, Ewan, and Rosario all on the same day and talked to all of them about very fun and different things, which was super, super cool. I guess with Rosario, I was talking to her about, yeah, I love you in Ahsoka. Everyone knows you're in Ahsoka. That's why you're here. But my wife and I, we just started watching The Defenders and Daredevil, and you're in like all those shows and you're incredible, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh my word, thank you so much. That was pretty cool. And I talked to Ewan about robots. Have you ever seen Robots, David? Um, he plays Rodney Copperbottom. He's the main
Uh,
guy. And boy, howdy, that movie is freaking hilarious. If you're listening and haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend you watch it.
yeah, Ewan McGregor does these like reality shows where he drives either around the world or he
Yeah,
drives from like the UK to the bottom of Africa or the bottom of South America all the way up to LA. And they're really entertaining, man.
Yeah,
They really
absolutely.
keep your interest. He drives motorcycles. And I think the
Yeah,
first series they were like BMW motorcycles.
that's sweet.
And I think I think there's 3 or 4 seasons. I think there's going to be another season actually, with one of his good buddies. But highly entertaining. I think you can watch
Mhm.
him on
Oh, that's
Apple
cool.
Plus, I
I'll have to
believe.
check those out. I heard about them,
Yeah,
but I never seen them.
yeah.
They
But
seem
anyways,
pretty
he
sweet.
stopped somewhere in South America, and he found robots on DVD at a
Dude,
shop.
I love it. I don't know if you remember at SpaceCon, I had my DVD with
Yeah,
me, and I
yeah.
thought I was gonna bring it to him just to show it to him and, "Hey, this is, childhood memory or whatever," but I got super, like, excited and nervous and forgot about it and just brought what I had to get signed and totally spaced, but he giggled a little bit when I brought that up to him, which was kinda fun.
Darth Beard on YouTube says, "I think it's sad we lost Cad Bane. They could all have a few
Mm.
episodes of a show together in Book of Boba Fett, and go into the Mando movie." I don't think we lost Cad Bane.
There was a
They showed
blinking
his
light.
his blinking light. I think that was the indicator that he's not dead. He's coming back in some capacity. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if we see him in this. I mean,
that'd be sweet.
where else are you gonna put him?
They made the animatronic for his face, just put it back on
Yeah,
the guy who played him in, the Book of Boba Fett. I know he was voiced by the same guy from the Clone Wars in Book of Boba Fett, but I don't think he was the stand-in when they filmed,
there
but
was a person at Rebel Scum Con in North Dallas that had an excellent live action Cad Bane. I mean, it looked like he walked off a set. It
that's
was
sweet.
incredible, and had
Yeah.
the voice too.
What?
I asked Cad Bane. I was like, can I get a selfie with you?" And he said it in his voice. Yes, you can. I was like, oh my god.
That's
Um,
cool.
Zach says fans still waiting on live action.
Oh, we got one more week until we say, "Okay, then he's gonna show up in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie." Okay.
So this is gonna turn into like the whole like thing where people say, we're getting this before GTA 6." This is the Star Wars version of that.
Oh, that's so
We're getting
funny.
live action EMBO before we get Hondo. Yeah.
Dude. Oh my word. Well, we technically got real life Hondo, right? They made an animatronic for him and for Disney.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like so many people want to see him in live action. It's an awesome animatronic.
For sure. For sure.
And they got I think in both parks, East and West. So,
Nice.
but yeah, Zach points out something really cool that I don't think we've
Mhm.
ever brought up on the podcast. Someone pointed out that for Vader to start the scene, had to turn off his chest lights to achieve the dark hallway surprise scene in Rogue One.
Huh.
Yes, so that means he had to hold his breath, I believe, right?
Well, and that's the first thing we hear when like you hear the pew pew of like the hallway
Right.
sounding an alarm and then you hear his breathing and then you see the lightsaber and then all hell breaks loose. But I
Um,
kind of want to go back and see if it turns on at some point while he's running around in the hallway because if he had to do all that while holding his breath, that would
he's
suck.
basically killing himself, right?
Yeah, that would suck. 1, his lung
Unless,
capacity sucks because he got scorched. 2, he's
right,
lugging around these big cybernetic limbs. And
right,
3, he's kicking tail. So that'll take a lot of that'll knock the wind out of anybody, let
yeah,
alone Vader who needs it.
yeah. I know Colin always says, don't look at the science behind Star Wars, but I kind of want to know the science behind that now.
Well, you almost wonder if Vader like did that to I don't know. Is that canon? But it's it's kind of cool to think about
Yeah,
that though.
to get the whole like
Yeah,
jump on the rebels there.
I'd say it
Mm,
was worth it.
yeah, it was awesome.
That's super cool.
Looking at the chat here. Darth Beard brings up you want a great Ewan movie. Watch Moulin Rouge. He's a great singer.
Hmm. I heard about
I've
that the other
never
week.
seen Moulin Rouge.
Me neither, but I've heard it's worth a watch. Darth Beard,
Uh,
I'll watch that if you check out Robots.
Zach says Ewan stopped at Tatooine in one episode.
Oh, for the biker show?
Yes, yes, he did because when he drove down to Africa, he stopped at the original set. So yeah, in
Hmm.
that I guess it's kind of spoiling it a little bit. It's not too much of a spoiler, but when he's walking through that original um, Owen homestead in Tunisia, he's walking around and he's kind of like looking at people, waiting to get recognized. He never got recognized.
Wow.
There's a bunch of people looking at stuff, and he never got recognized. So,
Hmm.
and he actually did go there for the ending of Revenge of the Sith.
He
Or
did.
actually, no. It was Attack of the Clones.
No, it was Revenge of the Sith.
Well, the scene was in Revenge of the Sith, but they shot it um, in Attack of the Clones, I believe, right?
I don't. I've never heard that before. I wouldn't doubt you for knowing that, but I
Yeah, because at in the behind the scenes, they asked George Lucas, they're like, "Why are you shooting stuff for Revenge of
yeah.
the Sith?" He's like, "Because I don't want to come back here."
I heard they shot it late because he had to shave his beard for something, and like when you see
Huh.
him, he's kind of holding his hand over his face like this. But maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But there definitely is some funky story behind why he was there at the time they filmed it.
Yeah, no, Richard on YouTube says, "Do y'all think the Manda movies where we'd see Cobb Vanth make his return?"
Oh, dude, I hope
Very well
so.
could be. I mean, they
He
have
was
a big
sweet.
budget. Yeah, yeah. Timothy Oliphant was a great Cobb Vanth.
Great episode. That's a top tier Mando episode. Is him showing up in season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, I like it when we go to cons and we see that cosplay, the
Yeah,
Boba Fett helmet, and
yeah,
you got to be like skinny
yeah,
with the armor on,
yeah, and the red scarf, or
and
is that an
yeah, the red
ascot? Or
scarf, and you got to have like his gait when you walk.
yeah,
Um,
that's sweet. Hmm.
and Adam says, "Why don't they just turn off Darth Vader like they do SMC?"
Oh no, is there a kill switch on Darth Vader?
It's like, what
Oh
does this
jeez.
button do? And like hit the chest plate.
Yeah, one gutsy rebel goes up and just dink.
Ken Density Geeks asked, "Did he turn the lights off or just go into stealth mode?"
Hmm.
Hmm.
What
Maybe
would
there's a stealth
happen?
mode.
What would happen if you shot Vader with a restraining bolt, like a droid?
That's more science stuff.
Whoa. I mean, he can use we've I'm sure he could use the force without his limbs moving around. We've seen it, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Darth Beard says, "I love
Boom.
robots."
Love it. Cultured man.
Zach says, "Yeah, the biker show. Aunt Fanny is the best."
Dude, we used to try to make the windows in our house vibrate from cranking the bass up with that. Oh my gosh, dude, that's so funny.
That's funny. Mariana says, "Hey guys, hey Mariana, how are you?" Zach says, "Hello." And Adam says, "Airplane mode." That is a definite possibility.
Hmm.
So yeah, that is the big news that dropped today. There are a couple of other things here that I wanted to kind of go over. There's like an infographic on EMBO. Appearances, Clone Wars, species. Do you know how to say that properly, Zach?
No,
Kaiuzo?
Kaizuo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homeworld, Fatrong, affiliation bounty hunter, accompanied by his beloved Anuba, Marok. Embo is deadly with a shot from his bowcaster or a decisive blow from his pan-shaped hat.
Hmm.
Sounds crazy. He often works with Sugi and is hired as part of her team to defend farmers on Felucia. Embo is one of 11 bounty hunters, including Obi-Wan disguised as Racco Harding and Cad Bane, to fight in the box competition. Embo is hired to target Rush Clovis, but fails when Anakin interrupts his plans. Later, he defends the Hutt Grand Council from Maul and Savage Opress.
Hmm.
Afterward, EMBO joins Boba Fett's crew of bounty hunters and participates in missions to, what is that, Zach?
Sorry, I lost
Farsight
the spot.
and Sereno.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
EMBO works throughout the Imperial era, but sadly, Marok dies. So I guess we're not going to see Marok.
I totally don't remember him dying.
Hmm.
Hmm.
After the Battle of Endor, EMBO works with Dengar and Jeddah to capture Sugi's niece and fellow bounty hunter Jazz Amari for Mercurial Swift. They find Jazz on Jakku, and they're ready to capture her until she persuades them to switch sides for full pardons. Following the Battle of Jakku, EMBO joins Joss' new bounty hunter crew. Man, I thought we were going to get to see Marok. I guess
Yeah.
not. Maybe he gets a new hound. Who knows?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been a very kind of eventful Star Wars news week. I mean, we got
Yeah.
the casting of Rory McCann as Balin Skull.
It's gonna be
Um,
sweet.
we also got a little bit of news about the Knights of the Old Republic as a TV show, and that's a rumor.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's eventual for that stuff to happen. I don't think there's any way around Knights of the Old Republic. And of course, with that big timeline they gave us in London, I mean, it shows
They
Old Republic
acknowledged it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mariana asks on YouTube, David, are you and James going to do another Ask Me Anything or Celebration question soon? I've got questions. Yeah, we're going to do another Ask Me Anything. We were joking because late the other night we didn't ask us anything, but it was super late at night. There's not a lot of people on. So we were kind of laughing about that. But yeah, we wanted to get on and just talk about Star Wars. So we're like, well, let's just podcast. So
Fun.
that's what happened. But feel free to ask your questions now. I'm here. I'm half of David and James. So if you want to ask me here, you can do that. Or you can hold them. Zach says they need to do an Ask Me Anything episode with the whole gang.
That'd be fun.
So, okay, so we're going to do a pre-show and post-show tomorrow for Skeleton Crew. You can
Yeah.
do that then. You can ask us anything then. I know it'll be a lot of fun because I'm pretty sure we'll have myself. Did I freeze? Myself, James, Colin, Zach,
Maybe
Craig.
Craig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a good time.
So they'll open the lottery for the panels like super close to.
Hmm.
It's gonna. It should actually be. Maybe if not next month, maybe the month after, because I know they want to get that all situated. I think I lost my camera here. Let me see if I can get it back.
Boom. On the fly. It's working.
It's working now.
Well, it was. It just blipped out.
Yeah, I need a new camera. Yeah,
Bear
Zach
with
says,
us,
you know what
guys.
sucks? I have to work when the last episode drops here tomorrow. Yeah,
Ooh. Can you pop in an
sadly.
earbud and listen to the pre-show at least before before the episode drops?
Yeah, Noah says people just start spamming Craig with questions about The Last Jedi. Yeah, I can totally see that.
uh
But yeah,
man.
tomorrow will be. It's crazy. It's the last episode of Skeleton Crew, man. It came by so quick.
Yeah,
So yeah,
for
tomorrow
sure.
we're gonna do a pre-show an hour before, and as soon as the episode ends, we're gonna set up, and then we'll probably start podcasting right after, because big stuff's gonna happen apparently, and
Yeah.
we'll get to kind of rate the series overall. I
Hmm.
know there was news that came out that it's not doing too well as far as like viewership goes, which um, I don't know. It feels like it's just kind of um, an after effect of people not liking the Acolyte and all the negativity around that, and people
Hmm.
just didn't give the show a chance. And a lot of them are
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'll just binge the whole thing.
Hmm. There were a lot of people that did that for Acolyte when that was all said and done. Just I'll binge it, or maybe some
Yeah.
people decided not to after hearing that it wasn't great by a lot of people. But Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I like watching it week to week. I mean, binging it would be fun in a sense, don't get me wrong, but it makes me feel like I'm waiting for my Saturday morning cartoons and just kind of I don't know. I like that aesthetic, but I hope that's something they continue to do. I'm sure they're doing it so that people run out their free trial of Disney Plus and end up paying a month or whatever, but it is kind of cool that they're doing it because Netflix set the standard that seasons for an entire show get dropped in one day, and Disney Plus kind of flipped the script on that when they started up, which was cool. But
Adam has a celebration question. Do you do all the questions for the panels in Japanese and then in English, or how does that go? Well, I've never been to a celebration in Japan, so I wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you, but I do believe every panel is bilingual. So if
that's cool.
somebody's going to be speaking in English, they're going to either have, I think they're going to have subtitles on the screen, or they're going to have an interpreter sitting right next to them and just repeating everything in Japanese,
Nice.
and vice versa. So, yeah. Mariana says, "Yeah, I saw Skeleton Crew was number 6 on Disney Top 10 in the USA." Okay, that's updated info.
Hmm.
Darth Beard says, "Literally no one I know is watching it. Some watched one episode and said it was for kids. If you were waiting for the season to drop, and Disney did a poor job of advertising." I agree on all of that.
Hmm.
Um, Advertising, I thought it was decent, but I don't think it was as prolific as it should have been. I mean, I
Yeah.
saw commercials here and there, the
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, but it was all on. It feels like any other network I watch, which I don't watch a lot of TV. I didn't see a whole lot of advertisement, and of
Hmm.
course, they didn't do like a fast food tie-in or anything like that. I mean, that would have maybe helped.
Hmm. That's a good point.
Noah says on YouTube, "What are the odds we get some vlogs of y'all ordering food in Japan while speaking like a Gungan?" I'll leave that to James. I'll be the cameraman and I'll let James do that.
James live in Japan.
One of our good buddies, Mike, that lives in San Diego, he does all the voices for everything, and he is like
Hmm.
spot on. Him and Colin, I think, do the best impressions, Star Wars impressions. Um, yeah, it would be cool if he was able to make it, and he's closer to Japan than I am. Fink Funk on YouTube says, "Just got a new subscriber just because I seen EMBO, the galaxy's best character." Wow,
Cool.
thank you so much, Fink Funk.
Welcome
Hopefully,
aboard.
yeah, hopefully you join us for all of our podcasts here. So yeah, I think we're gonna make it a habit when like news like this drops. We're probably gonna podcast. If someone's available to podcast, I try to get James on, but James is currently working. So
I
and
was
yeah,
number
we
two.
usually. Well,
I
I mean,
don't blame you though.
I try to get everyone on,
No,
but of
you're good, man.
course, yeah, Colin was working, James was working, Zach was like, "I'm doing nothing." So
Yeah. Holla.
yeah, it's not in the top 10 here in Japan, Zach says.
Hmm.
And yeah, I do think Acolyte scared off a lot of people. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm in the minority. I found a lot of things that I liked about the show. A lot of people were just like super negative about it,
Hmm.
and that was
Yeah.
unfortunate. Darth Beer says, "If you're on or around Disney, you'll see it, but they don't advertise outside. They keep it cheap and in the family. It seems anything ABC and Fox, I imagine, saw it, but in the
Hmm.
UK, we got nothing really." Yeah, man, that's not good. Um,
Did they do a lot of advertising for the Acolyte? I feel like there were posters everywhere, and I mean, they did the little tag on scene at the end of the Phantom Menace re-release,
yeah.
which was smart.
It does feel like there's more advertisement for the Acolyte. And originally, Skeleton Crew was supposed to be the first show between the two. And I
Yeah.
kind of wonder now if we got that sequence, maybe it would be different, you know?
Hmm. Well, and I'm hoping, I guess, kind of thinking of the comment on, or I guess from Zach here, thinking the Acolyte scared off too many people from trusting Disney's Star Wars. It kind of makes me think of a familiar time with The Last Jedi, and Solo kind of flopped, air quotes, flopped in the box office because
Yeah,
people
they
didn't,
basically broke even. Yeah,
yeah. And I'm hoping that Mando and Grogu, when that comes out, has a little bit more hype behind it just because it's Star Wars back in the movies. And that, I mean, not saying that the people that dislike the Acolyte, or, well, I guess Acolyte wasn't my favorite either, but I'm hoping that that kind of evaporates a little bit more by the time the movie shows up so that Disney knows to keep making movies and releasing them.
yeah. Darth Beard on YouTube says not really over here. There was so much advertising for Rise of Skywalker. It was
Mm.
everywhere on buses, billboards, TV, etc. When we were at Celebration London in 2023, there was a lot of Cal Kestis everywhere on
Oh,
double
yeah.
decker buses at bus
Yeah.
stops. I was like, wow, they're really kind of going all out. Mariana on YouTube says, I personally was so hyped for Skeleton Crew a couple years back. Then we waited and waited. Don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying it. But a lot of people waited so long they stopped caring to watch it. That's an interesting take.
Hmm.
I
Makes
can see
sense.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Huh. That is definitely very interesting. When did we first hear about it? It must have been 2, 3 years ago at this point. It wasn't on the investor call once upon a time, was it? That would have been a little too early.
I want to say no. I think it was right after.
Yeah,
And
that sounds about
then
right.
that celebration, I guess 2022, that's I think when we first found out and they had that one picture of Skeleton Crew.
Hmm.
It was like a storyboard picture with the Onyx Cinder on it already.
Yeah, yeah.
Zach says Krispy Kreme proves if the product is good, they don't need advertising or just a little. Disney product Star Wars doesn't warrant lack of advertising.
Hmm. Is there Krispy Kreme in Japan?
I don't know. Well, Zach is from the States, so
Fair.
um, but yeah. So it's interesting right now because there's a movie out that I saw. I got to see in Austin at Fantastic Fest super early. It's the Robbie Williams biopic, Better Man. It's a
Mm.
great film. I thought it was really good. It was totally unexpected. Weta was involved to create a CGI ape as Robbie Williams. Kind of different in that aspect, but it's really good. But it flopped. It made like only $1 million at the box office this weekend,
Oh,
which is
wow.
horrible because it costs like over $100 million or something.
Oof.
Which kind of goes against what Zach is saying right here. If the product is good, it doesn't need advertising. You still need advertising. You still need to spend the money.
Yeah.
But with Disney kind of concentrating on theatrical and trying to stray away from the live from streaming, um, it feels like they just said, "Well, let's just save the budget for theatrical."
Hmm.
Fing Funk says Acolyte was decent. They could have did better. I wouldn't mind a season 2. Maybe they could have seen what they did wrong. Yeah, they did have some pretty good setups with Plagueis and
Yeah.
Chimere.
Yeah.
Um, the lightsaber battle at the end was terrific. The addition of Chimere was
Hmm.
terrific.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
agree
got
with
to
all
meet
that.
Manny Jacinto in Japan in April.
Do it.
Adam says, "Did Celebration London have subtitles for British American, American?" Um, no, they didn't. Um, there was no subtitles whatsoever anywhere. It was interesting. That was my first time in Europe, and the British were really nice.
Hmm.
Um, it's not like I was expecting them not to be, but I
Yeah.
mean, it it still felt like I was in America. You know,
Did you get your fish and chips?
got my fish and chips. So did Colin. So did
There you go.
Carl. Um, I got it twice actually. Um,
Nice.
we didn't know where we were going, so we ended up in like a really crazily rich part of London where like every other car was like a Lambo or a Ferrari or a McLaren.
Wow. What's going on over there? Holy cow.
Yeah. And then you just drive a couple more blocks away and everything just like drops down in
Huh.
price. But yeah, it was an interesting time. And
Cool.
I've always liked London. I've always liked the UK.
Hmm.
Um, sometimes I think, I mean, that'd be a place I'd like to live, but I'm too Americanized with sports and everything else that
And
kind of goes with
Bucky's,
America.
you know.
Um,
I'm gonna keep bringing that up till the day I die, but
what'd you say?
Bucky's.
Oh,
Bucky's is Bucky's has their hold on you, David. You can't
oh
leave
man, I
Texas.
got the tractor beam, the Bucky's. Zach says yes. No, Richard says on YouTube, which hated Star Wars project do y'all prefer more?
Hmm.
The Last Jedi or the Acolyte? I would say Acolyte for me. Personally, I prefer TLJ and felt that the negativities that are associated with it are more evident in the Acolyte.
Hmm. I think the negativities associated with it are definitely more evident in the Acolyte. But that being said, I like the action in the Acolyte a lot more than I liked the action in the Last Jedi. I thought the lightsaber fights were incredible. Um, Maybe that was just because we saw a bunch of Jedi at once versus Luke and Rey kind of running around fighting Kylo Ren. Well, I guess not really together. But anyway, that's definitely an interesting uh, comment there. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'd probably pick the Acolyte, but that's a good question.
Yeah, I would say the Acolyte. For me, The Last Jedi, I think Luke Skywalker to me wasn't what I wanted, what I
Yeah,
thought should have been. Um, I've
samesies.
made so many analogies for The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi to me was like, you win a new, I know I'm referencing cars a lot, but you win a new Lambo. But the catch is there's no engine, you know?
Mhm.
It's like nice to look
Yeah,
at, but there's the main thing behind it is
yeah.
it's just not there.
The movie did look good, and
Yeah.
but yeah,
The
I
trailer was
totally get it,
terrific. The title is
dude.
all-time great, but
Yeah, when the red font came out, everyone lost their minds.
yeah, we're like, wow, something wild is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Zach says there is Krispy Kreme in Japan.
nice.
Fing Funk says Skeleton Crew is good too. I mean, definitely a kid's show. My daughter watches it with me, so it's dope to us. Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
the last episode there was an aspect to it where someone got shot in the face. Apparently,
Yeah, yeah. There's
so
it reaches
that
a
was kind
wide
of wild.
demographic.
Zach says the dark side clouds in many views.
Hmm.
Darth Beard says that's because Robbie Williams vanished to the U.S. years ago. He's a has been. Only 50-year-old women care. I no, I mean that's not totally true. I like Robbie Williams. I was never like a huge fan of him, but I knew of him, and I knew people in the
Hmm.
UK like really loved him, and he just never crossed over to the States. I actually
That's
checked
funny.
his tour that he's about to do. Nothing in the Americas. It's all UK, Europe, Africa, and it's like, man,
Hmm.
that would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mariana says, I miss Robbie Williams. Well, you can go to the theater and actually watch him. Kinda. He's a CGI Abe
Sort of.
in his biopic. You can hear a lot of his music. Um, Darth Beard says, "What do you guys genuinely think Disney should do to fix or bring people back to Star Wars?"
Luke
Man,
Skywalker in the
this is
movie
like a
theater.
10-hour podcast, bro.
Yeah, we could. Who?
I don't. I mean, I don't have it all lined up in a proper outline. Maybe I should actually do that. But I have fantasies of being in control of Star Wars and being at Celebration, walking out on stage and telling the people,
Yeah.
this is what we're going to do.
Hmm.
This is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars should rule the world, rule the pop culture world. I
Hmm.
mean, we're going to do Knights of the Republic. We're going to do an Old Republic series. We're going to do Rogue 2 with the Bothans. We're going to do a bounty hunter series, or either a
Yeah.
bounty hunter series or trilogy with all
Oh,
the
that'd be
original
cool.
bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back. We're gonna find out what exactly happens between the big three, Luke, Han, and Leia, and
Hmm.
do that in animation because, of course, it might be too difficult live action. Um, but shoot, maybe in a couple of years, it's not going to be. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's that.
it's a good point.
Um, make I mean, really, I mean, I wouldn't even mind doing like the Ray thing, and then bring John Boyega back and like maybe
Hmm.
continue the sequel trilogy, but have it more like what I think all of us kind of expect. I have like a Jedi Academy.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be cool.
make all of Star Wars a little bit more connective because we're always wanting like Hondo and Skeleton Crew. Why not have Hondo and Skeleton Crew? Just work them
Yeah.
in. I mean, everyone's expecting them. I mean, why have like the big tease of a pirate show and like the big pirate everyone knows and loves
Hmm.
of a certain age not in it? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, and
It's I hate to say this and it might not go over that great, but it's almost like you have to take I know this is going to sound ridiculous and I mean, I hope you get the gist of what I'm saying here. But
hmm,
and I might not even say it, but it comes down to this, you got to give the people what they want.
for sure.
Plus you got to give them what they're not asking for. I mean, it's a mathematical formula. It's like you have to serve the story, but you also got to give the people what they want. You got to
Hmm.
give the people what they're expecting. A good example is Spider-Man: No Way Home. Everyone wanted to see Andrew Garfield. Everyone wanted to see Tobey Maguire. Worst kept secret in the world, but they still acted like they weren't going to be in the movie. But we all
Yeah.
kind of knew, hey, look, this is the right opportunity. All those people went to that movie
Hmm.
expecting that. All of them are satisfied across the board.
Yeah,
What did we
it's a good
expect in
point.
The Last Jedi? We expected Luke to do some great things. Yes, he kind of did, but it wasn't on a cinematic level, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he dodged a lightsaber blade from Kylo Ren, and then
Ooh.
it's like, okay, that's it. That's all we
See
got.
you around,
So,
kid.
yeah, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of the expanded universe. You could even bring that in as its own separate timeline and
Hmm.
do like the kids of Solo and Leia. Um,
Well,
I
and
mean
things being
Jason and Jaina. I mean,
yeah,
there's so much there you can mine.
that's true. Things being connected, I think, would be a huge help because they almost wanted to ignore the prequels when the sequels came out because that wasn't the hottest ticket item, I guess. And
Right.
now there's a lot of prequel payoffs in the shows that we're seeing today. There's a lot of references to the prequels, and I think if they had more references to the events of the prequels in the sequels, that could have really helped make all 9 movies feel like they're part of the same story. Um, Not that they weren't, but I think they could have done better with that for sure.
Yeah, so Noel points out on YouTube, have y'all seen the theory going around that Neil's dad is a supervisor of AT-AT? And I've
Hmm.
seen that theory. I mean, it was kind of jokingly put out there, but I mean, yeah, it looks like it's gaining traction a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
so it looks like Mariana agrees with me. Yes, David, I agree with all that. Give this man a contract. I mean, God, man, that would just be wild to be in control of Lucasfilm and
Dude, that'd be
to
sweet.
and that's why I think we all kind of say put a fan in charge, put someone
Hmm.
that kind of knows what's going on,
Sam
almost like
Witwer.
a John Favreau type, but at the executive level. I know Favreau wants to do creative, but he doesn't want to handle business stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and that
I
person
get
at the
that.
top, the president, has to greenlight everything, essentially.
Yeah.
And I know Zach understands this reference; it's a sports reference, but you look at the Cowboys. I mean, you look
Mhm.
at what's going on with that. I mean, it's like the Dallas Cowboys should be the greatest football team ever every year, but they're not because of the upper
Jerry
management, the people
Jones,
that
he's
run
got to
the
go.
show.
I'll say it. Jerry Jones has got to go.
Yeah, and he even acted in Landman and said, "I did this for my family. I employed my kids to be with them." And it's like, no,
Okay,
don't
guy.
employ your kids if they don't do the best job. I mean, come
Yeah,
on. I wouldn't
yeah.
employ my kids if they weren't going to do a great job in Star. You know?
Well, it's
I
like what the
mean,
Lions did. They had the Ford family so deep into the
yeah.
pockets of the Lions, and then they kind of stepped back a little bit, and now the Lions are a 1 seed. Anyway, that's
I
I
mean,
could
yeah.
talk about that all day, but
Even me that has a Star Wars podcast, I wouldn't even put myself in charge of creative. I need to find someone that's like at
yeah,
the upper echelon. I could maybe just sign the checks or like
that's a good
greenlight
spot to be
stuff
in.
and just let other people be in charge of creative because I'm not sure I could do the best work with all that. I'm not a writer, I'm not a director. I would love to be, but I mean that's a hard job. That's you have to be a very very a specific type of person to do those types of
Yeah.
jobs. So, but I mean there's certain things that it's like come on guys. I mean, all this
Mm.
other ancillary stuff around, it's like they're dancing around all the stuff that's just a gold mine.
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know.
For sure.
Yeah, I didn't even mention this Vader series or movie. Yeah, I mean we've talked about it so many times.
What do you call that, David? When it's an easy idea?
Yeah, throw it to me, Zach. I'll catch it in Texas.
Oh, wrong side of the screen. Hold on, let me try that again. Ready, ready, ready.
Boom! Just slam
Bang.
dunk it. I mean, it's a slam dunk. I mean, so many. Oh my gosh, it like writes itself almost. You know? I
It
don't
would.
know.
Dude, that'd be cool.
Yeah, make a whole lot of money. Um, yeah. So the Vader series, yeah, do an Obi-Wan season 2. Have
Mm.
Vader storyline parallel with Obi-Wan storyline. Bring back Liam Neeson as
Natalie
Qui
Portman.
Gon. Bring back Natalie Portman for all the PTSD flashbacks with Vader. It
Yeah.
writes itself.
Oh, incredible.
Um, Zach says Honda will just be the back of his head in the end credits. Nice callback to the acolyte there.
Oh, jeez. Dude, that's funny.
Yeah, Mariana points it straight up. Vader just ran around killing people.
Hmm.
My favorite scene in Obi-Wan was the walk through the village.
He
Yeah,
wasn't messing
I think
around.
that's what we all kind of envisioned. Vader just like slaughtering the stragglers that are the Jedi left over from Order 66. And
Yeah, for
oh my
sure.
gosh, man. That would
For
be
sure.
I mean, that's something we all want to see, you know?
Hmm.
Darth Beer says connective is the problem right now. The timeline is all over the place. The
Hmm.
non-nerd can't follow. Look at Solo and Force Awakens. People wondered where Luke was in Solo or where Rey was baffled. Um,
Hmm. It's a fair point.
I mean, there's no problem with explaining things. Look at the Lord of the Rings. There's a prologue. Do a prologue. Do a live action scroll. If they want to get rid of the scroll so much, you know, I
Hmm.
mean, it's a pretty simple solution. Explain to the audience where you are in the timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, so everyone's on the same page. That's kind of one of the genius things of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings that there's a prologue and it gets you in the right headspace. If you don't know anything about that world, they
Hmm.
explain it to you. I mean, they kind of show you what, and in a cool way, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what Star Wars should probably have. Noah says I'm not all that hyped up to potentially see Hondo. I think people forget how goofy he was when we last saw him in Rebels. The dude was like the Jar Jar Binks of pirates. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I've never heard that before, but that cracks me up.
Zach says no. Washington should be number one. Well,
Dude, I
they
don't
won their
think
playoff
Jaden
game.
Daniels is ready for all the smoke in the divisional round of the playoffs. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, it's not over till it's over, but kneecap tour 2024, baby. Got to keep that going. Anyway.
Zach says don't open questions that we won't get payoffs to as an audience. I think I'm opening most of your questions there, Zach. Ed Adam says that was a great point, Darth Beard.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. it's a little difficult because Star Wars does jump around a lot. A lot of people are questioning. A lot of people question all the time, where are we at on the timeline? I don't think the acolytes. I think they did do like the blue wording at the beginning, but
Yeah, they did something similar to Ahsoka with wasn't a crawl, but it was
yeah. But see, the problem with that, not a lot of people know about the High Republic in that era.
right,
So yeah.
for sure. Hmm.
Darth Beard says Disney's arrogance blinds them. They want minimal effort and all the reward. I've
Hmm.
watched it all and loved a lot of it, but they don't appeal to the regular Joe.
That's a really good point. Hmm.
Yeah, this is a pretty good focus group here. Noah says if they were to get rid of the crawl, Anakin narrating every project as a chosen one would be an ability intro. To speak to that, I heard another YouTuber say this. Someone that Colin doesn't necessarily agree with all the time, and it's not the one you're thinking of, Zach. So
Okay.
we won't
I
talk
think
about
I
that
got
one.
another.
But
Colin gave me his top 3, so I think I got options, but
and he told me today, he's like, that's old news, and I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, it might be old news to the point where we kind of forgot about it, and you didn't, but I think a lot of us did. But
Hmm.
when we get through Ahsoka season 2 and we go through the Mortis gods, whatever arc they're going to have with that, and maybe it's
Yeah.
Sam Witwer back as the
Oh,
son.
that'd be sweet.
Um, the father asked Anakin to take over. So if Anakin does the takeover, Anakin's
Hmm.
going to be right there, and then it would make sense for him to narrate stuff going forward.
Do you think Force Ghost Anakin remembers the events of Mortis? Because that was like they did like the touch your forehead, forget thingy at the end
Yeah.
of that arc where Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka all forgot. But
Tough to
it would
say,
be
but
cool.
I would lean to yes.
Yeah. It would be cool to see a connection there for Anakin to kind of step into that larger role. That'd be sick.
So Zach says, no, I was talking about Star Wars, giving us questions without answers, not our podcast. So yeah, the whole
Mm,
like story for another time. You got to give us that story sooner than later, though.
yeah.
You can't just. I mean, That's such a cool story. They need to do like single stories, like not a series. Just do a single episode of what
Like a
happened with that lightsaber on Bespin,
yeah.
you know,
Feature
and
presentation.
follow the trajectory of that thing. Maybe an Ugnaught got it. Maybe they go with Legends. Um,
Hondo definitely was in custodial on Cloud City that day and
how did
scooped it
Maz
up.
Kanata end up with the Skywalker lightsaber? I think
Yeah.
that's we need to know
Mhm.
that.
We
That's
do.
another thing I would implement if I was in control of Lucasfilm. We got to put that thing in production right away. I don't care if we lose money on that. People want to know,
Yeah.
and put it on Disney Plus. Um, Zach says like Finn saying he wants to tell Ray something but never does. Well, we do find out about that. J.J. Abrams already came out and said that Ray wanted to tell, or Finn wanted to tell Ray that he was force sensitive.
Mm.
That's what it was. Yeah, Noah says if they were to able to get Anakin to narrate, it'd be absolutely filthy. Get
That'd be
rid of
cool.
the crawl,
Hayden.
but I think they've instituted the crawl back. So,
Yeah.
um,
Hayden's there though. I mean,
yeah,
he's
man, I think Hayden Christensen is aligning himself to be back in Star Wars full time in
yeah,
whatever capacity there is.
for sure.
Mariana says her theory is Anakin did take over for the father, and that's how he couldn't meet Ahsoka in the world between worlds and send her back.
Hmm. Oh, because
That's a good theory. I like that.
we don't see his Force Ghost until it pans to him on Peridia.
Right.
Huh. That is kind of cool.
But then again, I think it's almost like Ahsoka did die, and he brought her back. You
Hmm.
got to be pretty powerful to do that. Gave her the choice.
Yeah. Well, Annie literally like transferred the life essence from the daughter into Ahsoka. That was cool. That was really,
Right.
really cool.
Darth Beard on YouTube says, "Are they going to be using Anakin like Loki at the end of the Loki show? He sees all and is connected all." Yeah,
Hmm.
that's kind of what we're alluding to. He takes over as the father. Yeah. Zach says, "Set it off screen so it doesn't count."
But
Well,
it was in the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
yeah. Zach on YouTube says they need Sam Jackson in there a long time ago. MFing universe. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is trying to get
uh,
back to Star Wars, like
man.
hardcore. Um, Darth Beard says shouldn't have to read interviews and extra books after the movie to find out what Finn was talking about. That's just bad writing. Too many mystery boxes. Then you wait 10 years for the next movie. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's a negative. Yeah, they need a plan. They need something comprehensive, and they need to see a roadmap like at least 10 years down the line.
Hmm.
Noah says, "Do y'all think Ahsoka will die in Filoni's movie when she speaks to Rey in Revenge of the Sith? Was she dead?" I want to say I don't think. I'm trying to remember back. Somebody asked that question. I think there was an answer given. Were all the voices at the end of Rise of Skywalker that were speaking to Rey? Were all those people
Yeah.
deceased? I think it was kind of left open ended because people have
Yeah.
asked Filoni that question, and he's like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Well, because that was Ashley Eckstein's voice. Um, well, how crazy would it be if that came through like I don't know. You see Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds again and she sees Ray. I don't know. That I guess that wouldn't make much sense if who's that? Let me encourage her real quick. I guess that'd be kind of dumb, but never
Yeah.
mind. Forget I said that. That doesn't make any sense. But
She already died and came back as Gandalf the White in the Ahsoka series, Zach says.
it's a good point. Hmm.
I'm trying
Lots to
to
look
think
forward
back.
to.
How did she? I mean, she didn't technically die,
She was on the brink of dying,
right?
but chose to not.
Yeah, no, don't get me started on that. Those voices shouldn't be there. Only Yoda, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan should be talking. No one else learned to
Mm,
join the Force like them. Well, they weren't Force ghosts.
hmm.
Wow. Of all people, Ahsoka couldn't swim. I don't know about
She swam all the time in the Clone Wars.
that.
There's a whole underwater arc,
Yeah.
but they had like little jetpack underwater thingies.
She was in the water for
Yeah,
days.
right. Hmm.
No, ask on YouTube, when they're in the world between worlds, aren't they just technically pulled out of time? Yeah, I would say
I think
so.
so.
I'd agree with
Because
that.
in Rebels, you hear voices from the prequels, sequels, and original trilogy when Ezra and Ahsoka are walking around, which is sweet. That was that was really, really cool. Hearing Alec Guinness's voice pop up in there. I remember that.
Yeah, that connective tissue was great, but there was so little of it that
Yeah.
I
Enough
mean,
to get you wanting more, but just kind of the mystery aspect of it.
yeah. In The Force Awakens, when Rey touches the saber, you see Bespin, you see the hallway. But a lot of people didn't recognize that because that was like such a like background thing that I don't
Mm,
think a lot of people got that. They shot a whole scene with Luke fighting Vader and they just didn't put it in.
yeah.
That would have tied it all together. Zach says it was jokes and a flux capacitor.
Hmm.
Darth Beard says on YouTube, see, we love Star Wars and look at the inconsistencies we see. Now try getting new blood to understand.
Mm, it's a good point.
Mariana says on YouTube, yeah, that's true, Noah, but does this explain why Ezra didn't die at the end of Rebels? I'm not sure if I understand that one.
Hmm.
Ezra has force ability, so
Yeah.
he can kind of survive a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
Marianne says if you could access the world between worlds, you're immortal. She says, dude, I figured out how Palpatine survived. He was in the world between worlds.
Just sitting in his chair waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, guys, I think that's it for the podcast. Of course, we're going to be on tomorrow night, pre-show, an hour beforehand, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us there. It'll be the whole crew, I think. It's the season finale. Hopefully not the
Yeet.
series finale. So, yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. Ask whatever questions you want. You can do that any show, really. Noah says if Star Wars needs anything again, it's bad guys with British accents. That's always a hit. I do like the Brits in Star Wars. I don't know. That's just like one of the hallmarks of Star Wars. But
For sure.
yeah, for everyone out there on chat, thank you so much for commenting. Mariana, Zach, Noah, Darth Beard, Fink Funk, thanks for joining us. At Adam. I think that's everyone. Can't Density Geeks.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely check us out on all of our socials. YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, Instagram, SW Stuff Podcast, Twitter, at Stuff Pod, Blue Sky, Star Wars Stuff Podcast, or just Star Wars Stuff. Thread, Star Wars Stuff Podcast. Support us on Patreon. Find us at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. Just look for our logo. We're also on TikTok. You can email the show at StarWarsStuffPodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. So check us out on all those places. And I'm looking at the chat again. Let's see, I scrolled up.
Yeah, my
Mariana says
RBF
savages.
kind of just. I need to be happier.
And then Darthbeard says McClunky. Is there a receiver in the NFL with that last name?
I
Or
don't
is it
think so.
McConkey? I don't know.
I don't
I
think it's
saw that this weekend.
McClunky. Oh, that'd be awesome.
All right,
Imagine hearing Jim Nance say McClunky.
I think it's McConkey, but I thought about McClunky though. But anyways, yeah. Mariana says always a good time chatting. So, all
Yeah.
right, guys.
Thanks for hanging.
Till tomorrow. May the force be with you.
Always.